What up, everybody? Happy Sunday to those of you who will join me today or watch this video. And since we have a pretty crappy slate of NFL games today, I figured I might designate Sundays as soap opera Sundays for the Sundays I have time to dish little soap operas. So that is what we're going to do today. Let me get my notes ready and make sure my sound's all right. All right, I think it's fine. So, don't know if anybody's going to watch this, but it is what it is. So, as everybody knows, I be covering Beyond the Gates on this channel almost every day. And why is that just the only soap opera I do? Well, because it's new. And although I've recently given the show some crap for its writing, it's still better than the other four American soap operas for sure. But I do also try and keep up with Days of Our Lives, especially since Ron Carlivati has been gone. And I'd like to find a third soap opera again to start up. But here's my predicament. A few years ago on this channel, I would give my thoughts each month on so many different soap operas. I would rank them, not just in America, the UK, Australia, even New Zealand. Now that's unsustainable, especially with all of them being so low quality these days, most of them anyway. But here we are, a few years later, and I feel like the quality of the UK soaps might be just as bad as the American soaps. So I'm looking for another American soap right now. I might go back over to the UK. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, in my 3 years that I've been not covering the other four American soap operas, most of them are in the exact same place they were when I left. They haven't even tried to better themselves outside of Days of Our Lives, who finally got new head writers this year, which was long overdue. Brad Bell will always be in charge of Bold and the Beautiful since it's family owned. So we're stuck with his terrible, repetitive, over the top writing there. General Hospital still has my least favorite soap opera producer of all time, Frank Valentini, who just produces to save money. Young and the Restless still has Josh Griffith writing, who, when I stopped watching, was serving the most boring TV show on television. But I did choose Young and the Restless to try first for better or for worse. I watched it over this past week. I chose them because they did at least bring back Jill Farron Phelps as a producer. So I figured I'd see if she made an impact with the storylines and not just with adding a bunch of soap stars to the cast. And it's a sad day when I'd rather have JFP back as a main executive producer if it meant Josh Griffith could be fired from writing the show. But I guess that's where we are in 2025 with the American soap operas. But anyway, like I said, over the past week, I watched Young and the Restless for the first time in 3 years. I mean, I watched a full week for the first time in 3 years. I'd say I watched maybe 2 or 3 episodes over the past 3 years. And it was the return for this week was as I expected. I still think Josh Griffith is giving us one boring show overall. A lot of boring couples. Summer and Billy, snooze fest from what I saw. Adam and Chelsea, still a snooze fest from what I saw. Old middle-aged Nick still acting like he needs permission from his father to leave town. Snooze fest with the writing. I just don't understand it. But I do want to talk about some of the things that did stick out. I was pleasantly surprised to see Danny and Cricket both on the show getting ready to remarry. And I enjoyed their scenes with Phyllis, who anyone that watched in the 90s knows she helped end them basically. And Phyllis giving them shit about not being invited to the wedding, and by the looks of the preview is going to show up at the wedding anyway. I mean, it is sad that it genuinely shocks me to see Griffith at least using the show's history in a good way here. So that worked for me. This was my second time seeing Billy Flynn as Kane. I saw some clips on Twitter when he first debuted, or his first episode or second episode or something back in the summer. Um, I don't feel like it's a role that Billy can really sink his teeth into. Not that he could sink his teeth into the character of Chad on Days right now either, which I will talk about Days here in a few. Um, of course, Billy is on both shows currently because of how damn far in advance Days of Our Lives records their episodes. But I'm not interested in what seems to be Kane versus Victor. Victor should not still be everyone's rival on this show at Victor's big age. And I also don't know if they're trying to pair Kane and Phyllis, but that wasn't really giving either to me. But I guess I can say I wasn't at least totally bored with the Kane and Phyllis scenes on the Monday episode, I believe, compared to some of the other couples. But I still wasn't exactly feeling a Kane and Phyllis pairing. The show seemed to kill off Colin, which is fitting because Tristan Rogers, who portrayed him, sadly passed away in real life recently. And the story seems to be Victor doesn't want Kane to become some out of control scam artist like his father, but Kane has been presented as someone that already has a ton of money now. So I didn't really understand that part of the story. It kind of just came off, well, Victor needs to have another rival because he's rival with everyone. He's still the big dog at his big age, I guess. The show seems to be keeping Kane and Lily apart, with Kane not being able to get back in her or her kids' good graces. I'm, I'm assuming Nate and Victoria are a pair now. Honestly, none of these things were riveting, and I don't know what they're doing with the Mariah story. I have zero idea why she seems to be a mute right now. But what was annoying me with the preview, that of course Griffith has their lesbian couple on the show. One of the girls seems to be kissing or interested in a man. I don't know why that's a thing, but I guess that's a thing. So coming in to watching this past week of the episodes, I saw speculation online that Griffith is trying a last ditch effort to save his job by trying to repair Nick and Sharon after all this time. And I wish I could believe that Griffith's job is actually in jeopardy. But if it hasn't been in the last 3 years that I haven't been watching the show, I don't know if I can believe that now. But he has made a tragedy bring Nick and Sharon together in Los Angeles by having their son Noah being in a car accident. Um, Matt Cohen, who was on General Hospital years ago, has debuted as a detective on the case, who thinks that Noah's accident may not have been an accident. Someone may have ran him off the road and then drove away. They currently seem to have Noah bandaged up in the hospital. We can't even see his face because he's been recast with Lucas Adams. Because I guess instead of the show fixing the actual problem on the show, which is the writing, the plan seems to be, let's just cast a bunch of actors from Days of Our Lives in General Hospital. And maybe that will fix the problem. Maybe that will save Josh Griffith's job. And it probably will if he hasn't been fired yet. What stood out, though, in a positive way, at least there was a little bit of positive here. I was definitely the characters of Claire and Holden and the Kyle stuff. I don't know Claire, but I guess she is Victoria's daughter. And Holden is also a new character I've never seen before. And they seem to have Kyle kind of going into stalker mode over Claire because they must have been an item. So I think a big problem with Josh Griffith's Young and the Restless, just watching this past week, was the lack of young in the Young and the Restless. So I think this was appealing because of the characters in the story being on the younger side compared to everyone else on the show. I thought Claire and Holden were appealing and fun. This was also their introduction of the Tamara Braun character, who was yet another actor coming over from Days to premiere on this show. She